Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to explain Ode on Intimations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood by William Wordsworth, Part 2. I'll start from stanza number 5. If you have not watched yet the previous stanzas or my previous video, you can get the link at the end of this video. These are some difficult words from stanza number 5. Please note them. Stanza number 5. Firstly, I'll read the whole stanza. Try to comprehend it with me, and then I'll explain it line to line. Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and comes from afar, not in entire forgetfulness and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. Line number 1. Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. Now this is very significant line because poet is highlighting our prenatal existence, which means the existence or the life before our birth. He's saying that now we all are asleep because we forget all our earlier celestial origin, all the purity, all the innocence which we have before our existence in this world. He says that we have forget everything, that where our soul come from, our purpose of our life. So the basic idea of this line is that the birth is not a beginning of existence, it's just a transition. हमने पहले भी ये चीज़ डिस्कस की थी पार्ट वन में कि वर्ड्सवर्थ का ये बिलीव है कि जो ये लाइफ है इससे पहले भी हमारी एक लाइफ थी जो कि नेचर के ज़्यादा करीब थी, जो ज़्यादा इनोसेंस थी। जैसे एक चाइल्ड जो है वो इस वर्ल्ड में बोर्न होता है, he start his journey away from that innocence and away from the celestial light. So he's continuing that idea कि जो prenatal birth थी वो एक awakening थी. Now by birthing in this world we are all asleep. The soul that rises with us, our lives star, hath had elsewhere its setting. Now, poet is attributing soul as a life star or as a guiding star that accompany human through life. Because without soul, we cannot be even alive. So, soul is our guiding or our life star. But according to Wordsworth, soul have its divine nature and role in leading human towards truth and purpose. So, the origin of the soul is distant to some celestial realm, as we have earlier discussed. कि सोल का ओरिजिन जो है वो वही है जो हमारी प्री नेटल एग्जिस्टेंस थी. सोल का ओरिजिन तो वही है बेसिकली. सो वो जो है वो एक डिस्टेंट celestial realm है, ठीक है, and has its setting in another realm because now he's living in another realm and he's dying in another realm, so it has its setting somewhere else and it has its origin somewhere else and comes from afar. So the Wordsworth is talking about the soul, that the soul comes from afar because the soul comes from the celestial realm and now the soul is in the worldly realm. Not in entire forgetfulness and not in utter nakedness. So here the Wordsworth is giving us some little bit of hope that a soul is not in entire forgetfulness. It's not completely empty-handed. The soul have some kind of memories of the past, some faint knowledge of heavenly past. So it's not entirely naked, but some remnants of the divine essence in it. But the trailing of clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. So I hope you are getting the idea that we are not in entire forgetfulness or we're not in utter nakedness. We have some trailings of clouds of glory. So here poet is using a metaphor of clouds of glory, that we have some traces of divine origin, which represent our spiritual purity and divine connection, a little bit of divine connection with God. And who is God? God is our home. He's saying that God is our home. So we can say that God, who is our ultimate source and our ultimate destination. So here the in this stanza poet is focusing and emphasizing on the cyclic nature of existence, that we have a prenatal existence, then we come to this world, don't utterly forget our essence, and now then we'll return to the God who is our home. So this is the cycling nature of the existence. So this is the second half of the stanza. Heaven lies about us in our infancy. Shades of the prison house begin to close upon the growing boy. But he beholds the light, and whence it flows, he sees it in its joy. The youth who daily farther from the east must travel still in nature's breast. and by the vision splendid is on his way attended. At length the man perceives it die away and fade into the light of common day. So now I'll explain it. Heaven lies about us in our infancy. So Wordsworth is saying that infants are closest to heaven, and we can say infants are closest to nature or to God because their souls have recently descended from the divine realm. So हम एक्सपीरियंस भी करते हैं डेली लाइफ में बिकॉज दैट इन्फेंट्स हैव सम प्योरिटी और इनोसेंस और एट देयर ऑन देयर फेसेस जो कि एडल्ट्स के फेसेस पे नहीं होती है और उसका रीज़न वर्ड्सवर्थ के अकॉर्डिंग यही है कि देयर सोल्स हैव जस्ट स्टार्टेड द journey from that divine realm. Shades of the prison house begin to close upon the growing boy. So यहाँ पे prison house जो है वो Wordsworth इस materialistic world को कह रहा है. He's saying that as the child grow, the materialistic world and societal structures and societal norms around us, they begin to limit and obscure the soul's divine awareness. यानी कि ये जो प्रिजन हाउस है, ये जो वर्ल्ड है, इसके जो नॉर्म्स होते हैं, इसके इसके जो रूल्स रेगुलेशंस होते हैं, वो हमारे अंदर से वो डिवाइन अवेयरनेस, एक चाइल्ड के अंदर से वो डिवाइन अवेयरनेस जो है वो ख़त्म करने लग जाते हैं. द शेड्स ऑफ द spirituality gradually lost, and a child lost his clarity and his freedom. क्योंकि जो चाइल्ड होता है उसके पास एक फ्रीडम होता है, ठीक है, और जैसे जैसे हम बड़े होते जाते हैं हम पे सोसाइटी के रूल्स और रेगुलेशन अप्लाई होते जाते हैं और हमारे पास वो फ्रीडम नहीं रहती. सो दीज आर सम ड्रॉबैक्स. इस प्रिजन हाउस में पैदा होने की वजह से हमें ये सब कुछ फेस करना पड़ता है अकॉर्डिंग टू वर्ड्सवर्थ. But he beholds the light, and whence it flows, he sees it in joy. Now he's talking about a growing boy. Firstly, he was talking about the infant, and now he's talking about the growing boy. He says, despite this materialistic world, a boy still hold glimpse of divine light. यानी कि जो पहले infant के पास तो abundance में थी, now he still hold some of that divine light. He says that the child show resilience of soul in this materialistic world, and he still experience some of the divine presence through his untamed joy and purity of youth. He still experienced that joy and innocence. Then the youth. Now he's moving to the youth. He's saying that the youth who daily farthers from the east must travel still in nature's priest. Now the child mature to the youth, and he's saying that the youth daily moves farther from the east, which could symbolize many things. Firstly, it could symbolize the dawn. It could symbolize the beginning of the life. क्योंकि ईस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू वर्ड्सवर्थ ईस्ट में था जब वो जो है वो बॉर्न हुआ था. सो फ्रॉम ईस्ट वी कैन से इट इज ऑल्सो could symbolize the beginning of the life, and we can also assume that it could be the travel to the dusk. यानी कि अब वो ईस्ट से जो है वो डेली फार्दर अवे हो रहा है, यानी कि वो वेस्ट की तरफ जा रहा है, जो कि एक सेटिंग होती है, जो कि डस्क होता है. सो इसको हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि पहले वो ज़्यादा करीब था नेचर के और आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता जो है वो अपने ज़वाल की तरफ जा रहा है. In the last line he says still in nature's priest. So he's saying that despite this distance which is traveling daily far from east, despite this distance, he restrained a priest like role still. He maintained that role and he assured connection to nature. यानी कि इवन यूथ तक भी जो है ना उसका स्टिल नेचर के साथ कनेक्शन है, बिल्कुल ख़त्म नहीं हुआ. कम हो रहा है ग्रेजुअली. इन्फेंसी में बहुत ज़्यादा था, बॉय में उससे कम और यूथ में उससे कम, बट स्टिल ही हैव दैट कनेक्शन टू द नेचर. And by the vision supplanted is on his way attended. Now he's saying vision supplanted, we can say refer here to the divine insight and wonder which he carried from his childhood. यानी कि is on his way attended, यानी कि जिसको वो अभी तक अपने वे में अपने इस सारी जर्नी में लेके साथ साथ आ रहा था. Which vision? The vision which inspires his thought, the visions which guide him इन हिज जर्नी. ठीक है, यानी कि वो विजन विच गिव हिम सम सेंस ऑफ पर्पस एंड मीनिंग ऑफ लाइफ. वो विजन वही विजन जो वो अभी तक लेके आ रहा था अपने साथ साथ. बट नाउ एट लेंथ द मैन परसीव्स इट डाई अवे. ठीक है, यानी कि जब वो मैन बना, जब वो प्रॉपरली मेच्योर हो चुका है, इट डाइज अवे. अब वो बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो गया है, वो ठीक है, आई होप यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट फ्रॉम इन्फेंसी देयर वाज अबंडेंस इन द ग्रोइंग बॉय, देयर वर कुछ कम हुआ इन द यूथ, मजीद कुछ कम हुआ, एंड व्हेन ही बिकेम अ मैन इट died away completely and fade into the light of the common day. So in adulthood, that vision fades away. How it fades away? It fades away under the pressure and distractions of this materialistic world. Okay, and and once the things that were extraordinary and divine, now they are ordinary. Okay, now they are the matter of routine for him, because the earthly concerns, they dominate the adult's life. Okay, so now that pleasure, that joy, that innocence, that purity becomes a normal routine like feelings for him, and it fades away. These are some difficult words from stanza number 6. Please note them. Stanza number 6. Earth fills her lap with pleasures of her own, yearning she hath in her own natural kind, and even with something of a mother's mind, and no unworthy aim. The homely nurse doth all she can to make her foster child, her inmate man, forget the glories he hath now, and that imperial Paris whence he came. So now I'll explain it. Earth fills her lap with pleasure of her own. Now Wordsworth is portraying Earth as a nurturing figure. We can say Wordsworth is personifying Earth as a nurturing figure, because he's saying that Earth fills herself with much worldly attractions, sensory or materialistic pleasures. Why? Because he want to entertain the child by showing so wonderful things that they are all for you. So mm, क्यों कर रही है अर्थ ऐसे? बिकॉज ताकि उस पर्सन की, मैन की, जो कि अब मैन बन चुका है, उसकी अर्थ के साथ और अर्थ के प्लेजर्स के साथ एक बॉन्ड बन सके. Yearning she had in her own natural kind. Now, as a mother, Earth also have own desires and yearnings. So Wordsworth acknowledge that Earth have an essential purpose of sustaining life. It is not easy for the Earth to sustain so much lives in it. So she has to do some sacrifices and some efforts. And even with something of a mother's mind and no unworthy aim. So Earth is our mother, and like every mother wants to love herself, wants a child to love herself and don't want to share her child. So वही चीज़ हमें इस अर्थ में भी नज़र आ रही है, इस मदर में नज़र आ रही है कि वो जो है वो कोशिश कर रही है कि मैन जो है वो पिछले डिवाइन रेलम को भूल जाए, और सारी उसकी जो तवज्जो हो, सारा उसका लव जो हो वो अर्थ के लिए हो, इस मदर के लिए हो. दैट इज़ वाई ही बस गिविंग अस सम अट्रैक्शन, मैनी अट्रैक्शंस एंड मटेरियलिस्टिक थिंग्स, ताकि उस ताकि उसका जो लव है वो शेयर ना हो. एंड नो अनवर्ड एम. यहाँ पे वर्ड्सवर्थ जो है वो ये भी क्लियर कर रहा है कि वी कैन नॉट ब्लेम अर्थ, बिकॉज अर्थ ऑल्सो सेल्फलेसली नर्चर एंड केयर अस. सो that's a natural thing in a mother that earth don't want to share us. Okay. The homely nurse doth all she can to make her foster child an inmate man. Now, homely nurse refers to a humble caretaker. So, Earth is our humble caretaker who do everything to make human focus on present materialistic world. Okay, so she only wants to shape the humanity. So she'll do everything to make us focus on this world. Mm, to whom? To make her foster child her inmate man. Now, Wordsworth called us foster child of Earth. Why? Because our origin is somewhere else. हाँ, तो हम इस अर्थ के अडॉप्टेड चाइल्ड हैं. हम यहाँ पे बॉर्न नहीं हुए, वी आर बॉर्न इन डिवाइन realm, and now earth adopted us. So she is making us a foster child, comfortable. Forget the glories he had known and that imperial palace whence he came. Now, why Earth is doing all this? To make this, like this whole process is to make the man forget the glories and its origin. Okay, and the imperial palace in the last line refers to the divine realm from where the soul originated. So, Earth is drawing all this in order to make us forget our previous palace. Okay. These are some difficult words from stanza number 7. Note them. Stanza number 7. Behold the child among his newborn blisses, a 6 years darling of a pygmy size. See, where mid-work of his own hand he lies, fretted by sallies of his mother's kisses. With light upon him from his father's eyes, see at his feet some little plan or chart, some fragments from his dream of human life, shaped by himself with newly learned art. Now I'll explain it. Behold the child among his newborn blesses, a 6 years darling of a pygmy size. Now Wordsworth is talking about a particular child, okay? Um, which according to some critics that this child could be the son of Coleridge, St. Coleridge, his one of his best friends, because the Coleridge's son was also at 6 years around this time, around when he wrote this poem. So it could be that child or it could be any child. So Wordsworth is basically inviting us in these lines to observe a young child who is filled with joy and wonder, who is involved in his games, and who is curious, and everything is new for him, and this novelty excites him. So he's of 6 years, pygmy size, a very small size, but he holds this immense potential. So यानी कि immense, जैसे उसने पहले लाइन में भी कहा है, bliss है उसके ऊपर, ठीक है. So he have this immense blessings, even though his size is small, but he have this abundance of blessings which adults don't have. See where mid work of his own hands he lies, fretted by sallies of his mother's kisses. So the child is absorbed in his activities and in his games, that he got irritated, he got fretted by the kisses of his mother's, but obviously the mother can't help it. She will kiss his child, but all this scenario shows the innocence and self-contained world of the child, कि वो अपनी ही दुनिया में खेल रहा है, उसको कोई डिस्टर्ब ना करे. हालांकि वो बहुत छोटा सा है, लेकिन वो अपनी दुनिया में खेल रहा है, और इवन जब उसकी मदर भी उसको किसेस कर रही है, वो उससे भी इरिटेट हो रहा है कि डोंट डिस्टर्ब मी, with light upon him from his father's eyes. So, father figure we can say symbolize protection and care. So the child is under his father's eyes, his father's protection, but he least bother these two, his mother's kisses or his father's eyes. He's not interested in these two things. See at his fate some little plan or chart. So this plan could be of an event or of some holiday, or this chart could be a picture or a drawing. So the child, what is he trying to do? He's trying to attempt to grasp the complexities of human life, बिकॉज जैसे जैसे वो बड़ा होगा उसने प्लान्स ही बनाने हैं और उसने चार्ट्स ही बनाने हैं और उसने ड्राइंग्स ही करनी है एंड ऑल दैट. सो वो चाइल्डहुड में भी ये सब कम्प्लेक्सिटीज अंडरस्टैंड करने की कोशिश कर रहा है. Some fragments from his dream of human life shaped by himself with newly learned art. Now, some fragments from his dream of human life, यानी कि वो ह्यूमन लाइफ के कोई मतलब आइडियलाइज कर रहा है, यानी कि वो अपने पेरेंट्स को अपने सामने जो एक्टिविटीज़ करता हुआ देखता है वो उनको कॉपी करता है. वाई? बिकॉज ही इज आइडियलाइजिंग देयर लाइफ. ओके, ही इज ट्राइंग टू फिट his tongue in adult world. And the newly learned art in the second line, this art could be of imagination. So he's trying to attain this human life by imagination and skills. So he's creating some joyful scenarios, which he'll discuss in further in this stanza. So this scenario, this creation highlights the creative mind of a child, unspoiled mind and unspoiled nature of a child, and with that unspoiled mind he's trying to fit in this world. Now the second part of the stanza, stanza number 7, a wedding or a festival, a mourning or a funeral. And this hath now his heart, and unto this he frames his song. Then will he fit his tongue, the dialogue of business, love, or strife. But it will not be long ere this be thrown aside, and with new joy and pride. So, a wedding or a festival, a mourning or funeral. Now he's playing that his newly learned art, which we discussed earlier, that he's playing these acts. And Wordsworth also showing us that he's aware of the duality of life. That if there is a wedding or a festival, then there must be a mourning or a funeral. ठीक है, these are part of life and we cannot deny it. So he's playing all these parts. पर हमने भी मतलब लाइक देखा है बच्चों को कि वो शादियां कर रहे होते हैं अपने टॉयज की एंड ऑल दैट. सो दे प्ले दिस these parts, and this had now his heart, that now is deeply engrossed in these imaginative creations. Okay, he's deeply delved into this, and onto this he frames his song. Now his song reflect his perceptions of life, कि जैसे जैसे वो ये सारे एक्ट्स प्ले कर रहा है इसी से वो अपनी परसेप्शंस भी क्रिएट कर रहा है कि एक वेडिंग फेस्टिवल मॉन या फ्यूनरल पे उसने कैसे एक्ट करना है, वो बचपन में ही उसी तरह एक्ट कर करके सीख रहा है, एंड ही इज फ्रेमिंग हिज सॉन्ग. Then will he fit his tongue, that when he'll grow an adult, so he will practice all these things which he is now playing. Okay, to dialogues of business, love, or strife. Now, where he will practice these things in later in his life. He will practice this in his work, in his relationships, in his conflicts of life. So here we can see the transition from innocence to the experience, simply to the complexities of an adult. कि पहले वो एक game थी इसके लिए. Now when he'll grow older, he'll have to face all this in real world. But it will not be long ere this be thrown aside and with new joy and pride. Now, Wordsworth is comparing life to the stage. That this life, the life have stages. As there is a Shakespearean poem that all the world is a stage. So, उसमें भी शेक्सपियर ने कहा there are 7 stages of life. And same idea, Wordsworth is giving the same idea that there are stages of life, and it will not be long when you move from one stage of life to the other. Ere this be thrown aside, यानी कि childhood ये purity ये innocence ये games, this will be thrown aside, and then with new joy and pride, then you will experience new things, new challenges, and you will embrace a new phase of life. Last part of stanza number 7. The little actor cones another part, filling from time to time this his humorous stage with all the persons down to palsied age, that life brings with her in her equipage, as if his whole vocation were endless imitations. So he's saying this that the little actor cones another part. यानी कि पिछले स्लाइड में बात कर रहे थे that when he'll grow older he'll experience new challenges, so then he'll play another part of life. So he's calling a human being an actor, because we were discussing that he's also following the idea of Shakespeare, that all the world is a stage. So according to that, us human beings are actor, filling time to time his humorous stage. Now, humorous stage refers to the same idea that we have stages in his life. They are filled with various characters and experiences. In every phase, we experience different perspective. We experience different persons. We experience different ideas in our life. So we fill this from time to time his humorous stage with all the person down to palsied age. So palsied age is old, trembling age. So at that frailty of old age, life is still continuous and we are still playing our part in it. So उसने यहाँ पे इन 3-4 लाइनों में पूरी लाइफ को एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है कि लिटिल when he was small he played the acts of a small child. When he will grow older he play the character of a old human being adult, and when he'll go to palsied age he'll play the role role of an old age. So he's giving the idea that we all pretend uh, during our lifetimes that life brings with her in her equipage. Now, equipage, we can say life brings experiences with her, life brings expectations, responsibilities with her. So, whatever the life brings, will play that part as if his whole vocation were endless imitation. Now he's saying that a person born to imitate things. Okay, so how often conforms to societal norms and repeat the behavior, and we lose our originality. So वर्ड्सवर्थ यहाँ पे ये आइडिया दे रहा है कि हम सारी लाइफ एक एंडलेस इमिटेशन ही कर रहे होते हैं अपने सोसाइटल नॉर्म और सोसाइटल स्ट्रक्चर्स के अंदर, ठीक है, और दैट इज़ द रीज़न दैट वी लूज आवर ओरिजिनलिटी. Now I'll explain the rest of the poem in the part 3. Thank you so much for listening this far, and till then, please give us your worthy suggestions about the next poem to explain, and also how could I improve my explanations in the comment below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get the notification of our next video.